Welcome to Be a Voice. This is Britt Carpenter on Usula Radio. Thanks for joining me today. I am really excited about today's show as I am able to sit here for the second time around with a really good friend of mine and definitely Philly icon, Natalie Egenolf. Hey, Nat.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
So I'll have you know, I don't normally get up this early. I'm
I know.
spoiled because of my job. So, but you know what? It's nice. It's like a beautiful, I mean, I like kind of like cloudy days. I like looked outside. It's cooler temps. It's a cloudy day. I'm like, it's a nice day to get up and hang out with Britt for an hour.
Well, I'm glad because my initial time when I was like 8:30 or like 9, I'm like, okay.
I was like, ooh.
And I knew that too. And I was like, all right. And I think that's each time that I've wanted to do something in the morning where we've tried to connect in the morning. I think I've said it earlier time and you've always went for like a half hour later.
It just feels, I've blessed that like for the last 2 years, I have not had to be at work until like noon. So I'm a bit spoiled and I'm like such a night owl anyway.
You are up late.
I'm a night owl. I've always been a night owl. Even when I was younger, my mom would yell at me and be like, Natalie, like you have to go to bed. But I would be up late watching all the late night talk shows because I loved them. But I always like, I never wanted to get up for school. And it's not that I didn't like going to school. I love school, but I'm naturally, I think, a nighttime person. So I'm not a morning person. I've tried to be one.
I get that. You know what? I think about like the nighttime show. I used to love watching Carson back in the day, of course, because of my age. Carson was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, Letterman was like, you know, the man. I love watching him. And I was a total late night guy. Like I always watched the Honeymooners when they came on late at night.
Yeah.
Time frame, and that was always exciting to me. But like the older I got, the more tired I get, and like I find myself like trying to keep my eyes open come like 9:30 at night.
No, it's so weird. Like I'm totally opposite. It'll be like 10 o'clock and I'll want to like do something. Like I want to like write something or listen to music. Like it's very strange. And then I get in the bed and then my brain's like, hey, here are all these ideas.
So your brain doesn't shut down at night.
No, it doesn't actually. And it takes a little long to like get going in the morning. And if I'm tired, I feel like you can tell. So the other night, I think throughout this whole like pandemic, I've had issues sleeping because you're laying in bed and you're thinking about, you know, that we're living in a pandemic and all the ramifications that, you know, you're personally dealing with and the people that you know are dealing with and that the world is dealing with. I barely slept at all. I kept having these crazy dreams about these murder hornets because I read about them before I went to bed. So yesterday morning I woke up and it threw off my entire day. I was so groggy. I felt like my mind like didn't get up to speed. It's like a whole thing.
I'm sorry.
But I'm good today.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing under my breath here because I want to go back to the murder hornets.
Let's talk about them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, you know, I woke up 2 days ago, Sunday, to see this headline about murder hornets. Like I think 6ABC had it on their Instagram, and it was just murder hornets. And I'm like, what the hell are murder hornets? You know, first, you know, lantern flies that invaded us last year. And then, you know, this pandemic hits now murder hornets, but like, what the hell?
I'm like, as if like 2020, like what else? I'm just waiting. I honestly don't know what else this year can throw at us. And we're only 5 months in.
I know. And we just like, started the 5th month.
It's every month there's like some new crazy weird thing happening that's like, oh, hey, humanity, you suck. That's what I feel like. It's like, hey, humanity, you suck.
You know, and I thought that too. At first I'm thinking to myself, what did we do so wrong that this is, you know, coming down on us? I mean, I understand there's a lot of crap going on out there and people do bad things, but like overall, I think, you know, but then I tend to think that like, what's the bigger picture in all this? What is, you know, this pandemic hit. Natalie, this pandemic hit like March 17th, right before St. Patrick's Day.
I know.
Everything that you could do. I mean, 2 weeks prior to that, you and I were at the chili cook-off that had
I know
180 people.
when we were texting last night and you were like, this was the chili cook-off, and I'm like, that feels like a lifetime ago. Like, that honestly feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, and that was just that was February 29th, right before it started.
Was it? Wait, that was February 29th?
February 20th, right? Yep, February 29th. So
it feels like a different life. Like, that feels like, I feel like we've all been through a war since then or something. It's been so crazy.
We really have, though. I think we have been through a war. I think, there's been a war with, each other, because people are really getting against each other at this point in time. I thought this might, I mean, I've seen a lot of like silver linings in this. I've seen people step up
same.
and have like really big hearts and like do for others,
Yeah.
selflessly. But I've also seen more division happen,
Yeah.
and it's getting scary, because now it's not like division of parties and division of, classes or whatever you want to call it. It's really just division of like people full on hatred. Like,
yeah, and I think
personally.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're all in, and the only way that we can be social now is on the internet. So you're seeing, I think, a lot of, and I've always said this about social media, is whatever you're reading in a tone, and because I'm guilty of doing it myself, when you read something, it might be like you're inferring the tone that the person is putting out there in. So you're reading what somebody's thoughts, but you're reading them in your current state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Because
I know.
You see me on Twitter. I post a lot of jokes, and I think a lot of people who follow me know that I'm very like, witty and like sarcastic, and I like to, I that's just my personality.
It appeals to you too. That's what people like about you.
Right, but there's some people who read it and they get angry, and I'm like, I'm not angry. So why are you angry at me? And I think you're getting what people are feeling. You're seeing the responses that people are feeling personally, because there are days when I'm having some anxiety about God knows what right now. And I'm on the internet and I'm just like, I can't do this today. I can't read people, because then it feeds it. You're reading people's anger at each other, and I think it feeds your own mindset in a way,
Absolutely.
And that's all that we have to do right now. We can't go out and socialize. We can only be social on the internet. It's very problematic.
And isn't it a little bit like scary to the extent that like here you are on Twitter. You're on Twitter and you have a following of what 30,000 almost? What?
I think I'm almost at like 46.
Holy heck, 46. Okay, well,
I know. It's funny for a girl who didn't have friends in 5th grade.
Well, last year when we did the show together, which actually was like a year ago, when we did the show together. So we're almost at like our year anniversary for the show.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, probably.
It was like a little, around this time or before, I believe. I'm sure if I went back to Facebook, it would tell me on my memory.
Yeah, it probably would.
But like, here we are, like, it was 28,000 last year is what it was. I remember, I think. But anyway, 40,000 people, 40,000 people follow you on Twitter because, you're Natalie Egenolf, and it's Egenolf, right? It's
yes.
not Egenolf, because when people say Egenolf, I'm like, where do you get the Egenolf from?
No, the long E is very problematic.
I know, right? It drives me nuts.
And I tell people this all the time. I'm like, it's like a breakfast sandwich.
Ooh, I like it.
So like an Egenolf, Egenolf. Yeah, it's a breakfast sandwich.
I like it. Oh my gosh,
should I have a breakfast sandwich?
That and slices with a smile.
Don't tell anybody.
Once again, we did it again. You brought it out last time. I did it this time.
All right. So what we'll do, we'll have breakfast sandwiches too. It'll be full circle.
Perfect.
Full circle.
Perfect.
And nobody knows what we're talking about except for us. So
exactly. And the best part about it is they're all going to ask us then, what does that mean?
I know. Can't tell you. Can't tell you. It's our secret.
But you have this large following. You have a lot of followers. You have people from all over. I mean, you've been at events. I've been at events with you where we're together.
Yeah.
Come up to you. They come to the events because you are there.
Yeah. So.
But now they're getting pissed off at you or angry or agitated, and they're taking it personally. They don't even know you.
Well, again, I think a lot of it, when you're in a line of work where you have to put your opinion out there, and people disagree with your opinion, they take it personally. So the NFL draft came along, and you know, it was very contentious this year. And I think, again, because we have nothing else to do. So all we're doing, it's the only live sporting event in weeks. Eagles fans were, you know, clamoring for whatever was going to happen. And then naturally the Eagles do something that's totally off the wall.
And you post a picture.
I'm like, Howie, read the room. You know what I mean? Like, read the room. And you picked this year to be like a total wild card because no one saw what they were going to do in the second round. So they picked a quarterback at 53, brought up all these questions. I didn't like it because I thought, you know, you've invested in Carson Wentz for the last 4 years. And then it kind of felt, it was strange to me. It was strange to me.
I think it was strange to a lot of people. I think that sidelined a lot of people. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
So you did a tweet or you did a post with a picture.
Which one?
Was it a baby face? What was the picture? Which one was it?
Was it this past weekend when I was bored and dressed up? Because I was so bored.
No, of when the draft happened, you were like,
a picture. Of Carson Wentz.
Was that what that was?
With the Jesus and the finger guns. When I was like, no wonder the people are so confused. And it was Carson.
Yeah, that was it. But see,
so
I take that as humorous. I take that as being you. That's
yeah. And I was just saying, you know, people are confused because the Eagles anointed him to be our savior. And then he hasn't really had the chance to come to fruition. And then they go and draft another quarterback when there were plenty of wide receivers. And what he hasn't had was wide receivers over the last, you know, year or so. You know, we don't have to talk football. But so anyway, I put my opinion out there, and I was not alone in my opinion, but the amount of people who like just were so angry at what I said, I think I was very taken aback. And, you know, when you're tweeting and you're interacting with people, I said something else and I left out one word, which did totally change. It did change the message of my tweet, but there's no edit button, so you can't go back. So people, I mean, I was getting like bullied by teenagers on Instagram.
Really?
I'm not lying. But for this one tweet, and I'm like, you know what? I just need to take a step back, and because I love that part of my job, and I love interacting with our listeners and our viewers, and I love it's fun for me. Twitter has always been fun for me. But I was like, I need a break because again, you're sitting at home. If you're not watching TV or cooking or exercising or reading, what are you doing? You're sitting on this thing.
Exactly.
Well, and it's hard not to do. It's hard not to do in normal times, let alone when you can't go anywhere or do anything.
And now it's becoming more aggravating. And I think people are taking things much more personally than ever.
Yeah. Because we're so ingrained and we're so like right here all the time. It's difficult. I'm hoping, I actually when I was going to bed last night, I'm like, I'm hoping, you know, maybe there will be some like lightness soon now that the restrictions are being lifted. People are going to be able to do a little bit more safely, hopefully, you know, so we'll see.
I mean, you actually have changed, you know, the way you're used to doing your daily routine. Like you said, you're used to getting up a little bit later in the morning. You know, you have to be to work at 12. You're on air for 4 to 4.5 hours a day, not just on radio, but it's also on TV. So you got to be like, now you got to be on, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's changed because you're not in the studio anymore.
No. So when the pandemic, like that first week, they kept us all together in the studio. I guess before, when everyone was trying to really work through what was happening and how to do this safely. And I've also been recently thinking about how scary those first couple weeks were, because you're learning all this information about the disease and what it can do, or the virus, and what it can do to you. And it eats at your lungs, and, you know, it's going to be mass death, and there's not enough, you know, PPE for people. It was just, those first couple weeks, I think, were just horrific and so scary, and rightfully so, because we were dealing with something that we've never dealt with in at least 100 years, at nothing in our lifetime. So, the company decided, you know, when social distancing went down, that they were going to keep as many people home as they possibly could, and keep, you know, the main people in studio, like in studio who could be there.
Right.
So Tyrone and I generally are in the same room. So we are technically 6 feet apart, but just for safety precautions in the meantime, they thought that I could do my part from home.
Oh, you and Tyra are in the same room during the show?
Yeah, people don't know that, but yeah, we're in the same room.
I always thought it was separate. It looks separate because of the and stuff. But
and I think that that's a misconception. So Tyrone, he's essential. He has to run the board. He's the producer, so he has to run the board. It's it's Mike's show. I thought, okay, I can come home. So we were trying to figure out a way to video conference me in, but I think 4 hours straight on a Zoom call. You know what I mean? If you think about it, there's no live programming in Philadelphia. I think maybe outside of Good Day Philadelphia, that's that amount of time, 4 hours a day. That's straight live streaming, so it's.
And our friends at PHL 17, they're 4 hours.
Yeah, but they're, their news.
Live streaming, you said.
Yeah, so to have, like a simulcast, they're.
I'm sorry, my bad.
No, that's okay. Like they have the TV.
Yeah, no, my bad. Forget that.
No, that's okay. So I think that there were some discrepancies with the delay and getting it out to proper channels. It was just, it became too much. We were still trying to figure it out 2 weeks ago, but now it's looking like I'll be able to go back I'm hoping within this month.
And how has it been like doing it, from home?
It's okay. I miss Mike and Tyrone a lot. They're like my family. I spend more time with them than I do anybody else. I miss working with them every day. I miss part of, the show is interacting with each other, and it's hard because they can't see me. So,
right.
Yeah, so we've had to learn how to kind of like get used to a new type of chemistry. And the reason people say that they like our show is our chemistry, and that's because there's a lot of things that go into that. It's eye contact. It's kind of like knowing when you step in, knowing, when you have something to say. There's a lot of like nonverbal cues that we have with each other that I can't do, and they can't do with me because they can't see me. All they can do is hear me.
Okay.
So it's like kind of like you're having a conversation with somebody, and then somebody else is like the voice of God. It's like, hello, remind me that I'm here.
Behind the curtain, Yeah.
Yeah. So they were trying to figure it out. But I'm very optimistic. Hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be back. Nice. And I can't.
Nice. So for you, then you just have to like get up and go to wherever you decide to record from.
I'll show you. Here it is, my couch. I have all my equipment in a corner over there, and I just set it up, and I have my microphone, and I just hang it on my couch for 4 hours and
one of those big lights.
Radio.
You have one of those big round lights there and everything.
Yeah, I have one of those for when I do like video things, but I didn't even use it today. Look at my hair.
And no, you don't have. Well, do you get up every day and do you get up every day and get ready for the show?
No. I mean, I'll probably hang like this for the rest of the day. This will be it. Because no one's going to see me. So they have my Bitmoji on TV, which is hysterical. And she blinks and waves, but like the viewers have been tweeting me, and they're like, Nat, we miss you. Like we love your cartoon, but we're also tired of her. I'm like, I know, it's okay. I'm coming back. Don't worry.
Are you going live yourself when you're doing it, or no? Like on like
no, because it's also, I thought about that, but then so it's weird because again there would be a delay from what the person is watching and what they're hearing on the TV and on the radio. Okay. That's been the issue when I say the live stream. It's my sound
delay,
and then what's coming out, because it's not just one channel that it's coming out of. It's coming out of the radio too. So there's 2 different time codes. There's a lot that goes into this that people have no idea.
That's a lot for me to even comprehend. So
yeah. So there's 2 different time codes, and everything's kind of down to a science. So if I were to do it live, it wouldn't. If we were just on the radio or just on TV, it would match up. But because it's coming out of 2 different streams, I think it does not. That's what they say.
I got
so, and I thought about it, and I'm like, 4 hours of just me like I don't know, sitting here.
Yeah.
It's okay. And then like they'll see me like having to chase my dog, which I was actually concerned about because she gets insane. She gets crazy.
I worry about that too because I have them all right now. They're sleeping.
Yeah.
However, like the most simplest of knocks or noises, and all hell breaks loose and forget about it. It's like, so it's crazy. But we were talking about like this, it's such unprecedented times, and like things are so uncertain, and people are still trying to make heads or tails of what's going on and why this is happening, and and I think for some way in my mind, like I've been trying to look at things, and I think for some reason, like this is a way to tell us all to slow down a little bit.
So
To
it's
reset a little
funny.
bit.
It's funny that you say that. I was talking to my friends. We did a virtual birthday party Friday night for one of my friends,
Right.
and we're super cheesy, and we went through and we said what we were thankful for about this time, and like what the hardest thing for us has been through this time. And I said it's alleviated, I think, a lot of the pressure that I put on myself because me, I'm a workaholic, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to perform well and to keep going and to keep grinding and to hustle. And it's kind of like the world has been like, sit down for 5 minutes, Nat, and it's been a blessing in that way. It's been hard for me, but now I have no choices. Which when people remove choices from you, sometimes it's a blessing because you're just forced to just be.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Be present, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's the conversation we should have with our friend Sheil, because she would, be all about that.
Yes. Oh yeah. Sheil, God bless her. For people who don't know, Sheil is a good friend of Britt and I. She's a holistic healer, and she one of the strongest people I've ever met. Battles MS valiantly. She's been a trooper through this whole thing. She's a vulnerable population, so she would be very affected by the virus. But yeah, always just a ray of light. I'm just gonna plug her, follow her. Sheil Butha.
Yeah, Sheil Butha.
Yeah.
She had posted something. It was late at night. It was a night that I actually my brain wasn't able to shut down because my brain's been in overdrive and everything. And I reached out to her just because I think she wasn't feeling well, and I had texted her, and she texted back, and it was probably the best text exchange I had in 5 minutes the entire pandemic. And it was with Sheil, because she just made everything so much better at 11:55 at night.
Yeah, and that's what she does. That's who she is as a person. That's who she always will be. I'm just so thankful to have her in my life. Yeah, because I talked to her last week, and it was a lot of the same conversation that we're having. I said to her, it has alleviated a little bit of pressure. I'm anxious to get back to work. I'm raring to go. I'm ready for the grind and like the sports and like the Flyers and the Sixers. But like, it's kind of like, okay, you just have to be and kind of just be where you are, which has been a blessing.
So this whole new norm of like social interaction, like doing Zoom or whatever, video parties, and everything. How do you feel about that?
I miss my friends like terribly. I do wish that I could see them and be with them and that we could hang out. Cause I have, growing up in Philly, I'm blessed that I have friends of 20 plus years. So you spend your entire life with people basically. And then all of a sudden you can't see them. And that's been a really difficult part for me too. Like not seeing my family. I'm so close to my mother, not being able to see her. I mean, it's been so, it's been really hard for me. But the video birthday party was great. We actually had so much fun. It was 4 hours. We hung out for 4 hours on Zoom.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it was
cool.
so
4
we
hours?
sang, we sang happy birthday, had some wine and spiked seltzer, and we were all just hanging out and having a party. It was a lot of fun.
Did you get dressed up for it?
No, I just hung out.
But
some of the other ones I've gotten dressed up for. Some of the other Zoom parties.
Do you miss getting dressed up?
Oh my God, I miss getting dressed up more than anything.
Yeah.
I said I'm gonna all summer when I can go back out, I'm just gonna be like in a gown. Like, okay.
Walking into the pool during the day with a gown.
Yeah, you can go sit down now. extra. Okay. Like nobody cares. Put on like jeans like the rest of us. No, I miss getting, I mean, I've always been like somebody who loves heels and loves dressing up. So I like look at my shoes and I'm like, I'm nowhere to wear them. It's such a petty problem to have. I'm very cognizant of my petty problems. Like I miss my manicures and I miss, wearing high heels, but those things will come again. It's okay.
It's not a petty problem to have. This is the first time in the pandemic that I've actually like trimmed my face down this morning.
Yeah.
And like these are so messed up over here on the side. And I cut them once and like the one was here, the other was here.
Oh no. You look good though. You did a good job.
I'm trying to hide it really well and blend. The lighting works, But I miss my barber. I really do. I think I even like put a shout out to him the other day and I texted him the other night. I'm like, you're allowed to open next week? And he was like, I wish,
Yeah.
But I get it. I mean, we take for granted these little
oh my God
luxuries or leisures that we have, this life of leisure that we do lead. And then all of a sudden we're forced to like be grounded with ourselves and find that like it's okay if your nails aren't perfectly manicured. And it's okay if you wake up and just get on a Zoom call and nobody thinks twice about it.
Right. It's actually funny. I was thinking of something small that I took for granted. Growing up, I always wished that Wawa would deliver, and then I was sitting here and I'm watching TV and it comes on the Wawa commercial. It's like, oh, delivery now from Wawa. And I'm like, but I just want to go and stand in front of the touchscreen and like spend 10 minutes deciding if I should add pickles or not. Like it does. I've thought so much about the very small, minute parts of my life that I just didn't even like think about, but so it'll be nice when it comes back. Even my morning commute. So even my morning commute sitting on 76, I'm like, all those times I wish that I wasn't doing that. Like I kind of wish I was back in traffic. Kind of wish I was on 76 again.
I'll tell you a little Wawa thing. Once they took Wawa away from us here in Philly, where we weren't allowed to go in and order and touch the screen, I had to go to the vet actually for one of my dogs, and that was out in Conshohocken.
Mm-hmm.
And I had stopped at the Wawa because I'm addicted to the diet green tea. I need to have it all.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
To be here all the time.
Yeah.
But like I saw people over at the touch screens ordering, and I was looking around and I walked over to the lady and I'm like, are we allowed to order? And I pointed to the touch screen and she looked at me like I was crazy. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I live in Philly. I'm like, we're not allowed to order. And she was like, you can order. So I didn't want anything, but I ordered like a breakfast wrap just because I didn't eat it at all. But so that luxury, I know what you mean. I miss that having that in front of you. It's not the same to order it online because you just don't get to make all those choices.
Yeah, no, that like just a lot of the online, speaking of the Amazon trucks here, that's so funny. Like, am I getting anything delivered today? But yeah, just the simple going out and just sitting at like a restaurant or going to a store, going shopping. Like it's so crazy. I think it's just so crazy how it all just was by, everything was just taken away and it's wild. It's wild. I went to Target last week, made the trip. I did go to Target. I just needed some stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Put on my mask, went in there. And I feel like, I keep saying, I feel like everybody, anywhere that I have gone, like to the supermarket or somewhere like Target, or even I went and sat in a park 2 weekends ago. I feel like everybody has been generally respectful of the distancing, which I'm happy about. Like there are some people who are congregating probably in larger groups than they should. Right. But with each other, I feel like everybody's been pretty respectful. And I think that that's something really nice that I've witnessed. There's been no issues that I've seen where someone's like, you're not, so, I'm standing here because I want to stand here, and it's like, do you have to stand there? You can't just back up for 2 minutes. Like, just stop.
I've been there, like the Acme here in the Roxborough area.
Yeah.
They have like the arrows in the aisles, to go one way and up and down and stuff like that. And I was getting a little agitated when people were going the wrong way with the arrows. Like at first,
Yeah.
like, don't you see those arrows? And then like if somebody were like in my space, it was just, you know, like I was at the Lowe's too. I had to go to the Lowe's to get something. Oh, I know. I broke the hose valve, started this huge geyser of water.
Oh
Like,
my God. Yeah.
it was like something out of a cartoon or a movie. If you would have seen it, it was great. It was anything less than me like putting my finger in like the hole trying to stop it. You know?
Right. Oh my God. You should have just tried that.
I said, if anybody had a video, it'd be great. But
Right.
I had to go to Lowe's, and I really didn't want to. But when I did, they had the squares on the floor for social distancing.
Yeah.
You know? But like the register next to me had the same squares, but I was standing 2 feet next to the guy this way. Like if I like arm to arm. In front of me it was 6 feet, but they didn't logically put the squares down on
I
the
know.
floor. So
It's like a learning thing. I feel like people are still like trying to figure it out. It's like, oh yeah, well we have 6 feet, but you can also breathe this way too. You know? It's
and you're
funny.
wearing a mask everywhere you go? When you go somewhere, you wear a mask?
Yeah. Yeah.
How about gloves?
I have not done the gloves. My sister is in healthcare. My sister both and my brother have been on the front lines of this the whole time.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've been
nice,
like,
but that's awesome. And today is what is it, Nurses Day?
I think it's Nurses Day. Yeah. So shout out to all the amazing nurses. So many of my friends and family and everybody. But my sister said, you know, she said if you wear the gloves, she's like, you better just have multiple pairs on you, because then you have to continuously take them off, because then you're just touching and contaminating everything. So I carry hand sanitizer with me everywhere I go, and like I get in my car, I put it on, I go in wherever I'm going, I come out of my car, I put it back on, and then you know what I mean. So I've been using the sanitizer instead of gloves.
I was too, until my hands like became like leather, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden I had to start using like lotion and moisturizer, which I never use lotion and moisturizer. Now it's not bad. I find the other day I was like, I was somewhere, and this guy pulled up to me in like a 280ZX, and I knew it was a newer one. It looked like an older 280ZX. I'm a car head. I like cars. And I look over at the dude, and I was trying to be all cool. I'm like, yo, man, what year is that? He's like, a 16. He's like, they haven't changed much, have they? I'm like, no, they haven't. He's like, yeah. He's like, I really like it. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, well, have a good day. But at the time, I forgot that I had lotion in my hand because it's a stoplight. And as I lift my hand to like wave, all this lotion just comes dripping off my hand. He was turning. I went straight. I'm like, all right, calm down.
I'm just moisturizing. Don't worry about me.
Yeah, nice car. Here's my moisturizer.
Yeah.
So I've calmed down on the lotion since then.
Yeah, no, it's I've been that's how I've been keeping my hands clean. But I do have masks, multiple masks.
Fashion masks. You get the
fashion masks. I have simple masks. I have like day masks. I have light masks. I have these felt masks. This one, so I actually got these are from Target. I call this my Drake mask because I feel like I look like Drake when I wear it. You know, I'm gonna do the 2C slide with it on. This one,
I love it.
This one is felt, and it's like a little bit heavier. So I wore this to the produce store the other day, and my face was sweating, which was kind of miserable. But
Your glasses never fog up if you have your glasses on?
I can't do it, which is also really annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I put my glasses on and it fogs up, so I find myself like wearing my glasses on my forehead.
Yeah. I just saw an article last night that said that there's a way to wear your glasses and not have it fog up, but I didn't click on it to see.
Well, the one Norma Channing, she used to be a reporter on Channel 6.
Oh, Channel 6, Nora.
Yeah. Nora, on her feed, she showed like there's supposed to be like if you use shaving cream or something. If it was, so she went through the whole process with the shaving cream all over her lenses, cleaned them up, put them on, and still fogged up. She's like, well, that didn't work. So I'm just trying to wear my glasses. You know, like when I'm taking my dog, like, so if you go outside, do you take your dog for a walk? Or you let the dog out back?
She goes out back mostly just because she's elderly now and is a bit ornery in her elderly age, if you will.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. So she's super territorial of me. So if another dog even looks at me, she's a Chihuahua. She's ready to like bite their face off.
She thinks she's a German Shepherd.
She thinks she's a German Shepherd. She suffers from this like huge, like, Napoleon complex. That's only getting worse with age. I used to be able to take her places, and I don't know what, maybe it probably is just her age that she's just gotten super territorial. So I'll try and take her for like a little walk just to like get her out, just to get her some exercise. So if I do that, then I'm wearing a mask. Whenever I go out
the house, your mask goes on.
Yeah.
So if you see somebody walking like across the street from you and they're walking their dog and they're not wearing the mask, do you think like, yo, dude, put your mask on?
I did for a minute, but now I'm not. I feel like I think I personally am wearing a mask just because I feel like it's my social responsibility to. But if somebody else isn't, I'm not necessarily judging them as long as they're not near me.
Okay, cool. No,
I'm hoping that they're being respectful of the 6 foot boundaries. Like if you're not gonna wear a mask, then it's your social responsibility per the CDC guidelines to stay 6 feet away from somebody. I think that's fair.
At least.
When I went to the park 2 weekends ago, I sat on a bench and I was further away from everybody, and I went with my roommate, and her and I sat there, and I didn't have my mask on then, but I wasn't around anybody. I wasn't around like a soul except for my roommate who I live with. So her and I, but we had our masks there. We just weren't wearing them. It's just, it's weird. It's just one of those weird times. But if I know that I'm going to be around strangers, then out of respect, then I'll wear it.
And that's, I think that's awesome. I mean, I love the fact that you said that your social responsibility, and not many people are looking at it like it's a social responsibility. Just because you're feeling fine, just because you may not be in an age that is prone to getting it or whatever the case may be, like you don't know what somebody else is going through, or what their issues are, their health issues are, or who they're going home to be around.
Well, that too, and it's as simple as my roommate is severely asthmatic. So when this first hit, I thought even if I wanted to go and see my family or see some of my other friends, I would be irresponsible to her because she is at a greater risk of being severely ill than I am. So it's this is not about me. It's not about Natalie Egenolf right now. Like, this is about everybody else, but yeah, like I said, if you don't want to wear a mask, that's fine. Just stay away from me.
I love it. And I hope people listening take a cue from that, Nat, that, it's not about Natalie Egenolf right now. It's not about right now. It's about everybody else. I think, yes, while we're all individuals and we're all going through this in our own way, and, it's affecting us all differently, it is true. We are all in this together, because if we don't do what we're supposed to be doing, we're not going to get out of this.
Yeah, and it's I think Philadelphia has done a really good job, and I've heard a lot of people say, well, they had the Leocore Center open, they didn't even need to use it and all this stuff, but it's like, it's because we did a really good job of listening and staying in. And I know people who got sick, and those people who got sick were really sick, and it's always a good thing, I think, when there's less destruction. In general, rule of thumb, the less destruction, the better. That's my mindset. So I didn't need the mass casualties like New York had to feel like this was real. Absolutely. Because that's an hour and a half away, and we saw what happened there. So it was real there. It had the potential to be very real here, but we as a city, I think, did a really good job, and hopefully saved a lot of lives that otherwise would have been lost if we were just reckless with ourselves.
And I think we need to like bring into light, the whole thing with the Leocore Center, like people, were like applauding it, Temple stepped up, and
yeah,
like they always do, and you're a Temple dad, you're a Temple maid, and that's, a sense of pride there. And, Temple stepped up when nobody else would, when they were trying to get taken over the role, the Coles by what's his face?
Oh, what was that? Oh, that hospital that was in existence? Yeah. And, that whole thing.
Everybody applauded, and now people are like freaking out, like, well, we didn't even need it. Well, guess what? There were 16 people that were treated there. 16 people needed it. Now, if they didn't have it set up and say, 100 people needed it, they would have been bashed because they didn't have it set up. So they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. So I think, we were safe and sorry and it worked.
Well, and it's important to recognize the areas that setup was helping.
Mm-hmm.
And it was you have Einstein North Broad, yes. Temple University, and then you have the Leah Kors Center. And then the next, if I'm right, the next hospital wouldn't have been until Jefferson, because so you're thinking of the community. You have to think about the communities that those hospitals are serving, mm-hmm. and how statistically have been disproportionately affected, by coronavirus. So if that place only served 16 people, then that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
And I know somebody who was actually a ER doctor at one of the hospitals that we mentioned, and they were actually asked to take a cut in pay. And they were like, "What are you kidding? They're on the front lines with this,
Yeah.
Because that's where they were as far as money. That's where we were." And I think that mentality on the business end is what got us to where we are now. I mean, that's why I think we're in such, dire straits with our economy. I also think that we have to realize that, small businesses are going to always be affected, but also people need to have, processes and plans in place, including myself. And I didn't with my business. I didn't have a pandemic plan in my business.
No, the only apparently the only organization who did was, I think, Wimbledon.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. They took out pandemic insurance and saved themselves. Like I might be in. I can't remember if it's 41 million or 14 million. I might be in.
Either way,
I'm inverting. Either way, millions of dollars because they invested in pandemic insurance. But that's something that no one thought of. That's a pandemic. I think if you think about it, you thought that was something that has happened. That happened back in the day. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't happen in 2020. It's modern science and modern technology and modern medicine, and the next thing you know, hop, skip, and 1 week goes by, and the entire world is shut down. It's unbelievable.
It is, and for the longest time in the very beginning when it started, I was waking up in the morning and I was getting this anxiety and anxiousness because I felt like I had somewhere I had to go. I felt like I needed to be somewhere.
I had the same exact experience.
And then later in the day, it was 3:00, and I always know about 3:00, I'm able to sit down and breathe for an hour or two, and then go into my evening routine when I have stuff.
Yeah.
And I always felt like I had stuff in the evening. So around 4:00, the anxiousness started building up again, and I think it hit me even worse then because of that. It took me a while to adjust to the fact that this is the new norm. Forget everything we learned. This is where we're at. It took me a while.
Yeah, it took me a while too. And like I said before we even got on here, there's good days and there's bad days, and then there's really bad days, and then there's really good days. I feel like it's come in waves, and I've also given myself permission to kind of allow myself to feel what I feel, because I'm also somebody who kind of is like, no, you're a trooper. Do this, you know what I mean? And I'm like, it's okay if I think that this really sucks today, and it's okay if I'm happy and optimistic the next day. It's all your state of mind. So trying to balance, it's been trying to find a balance to navigate these waters where nobody can tell you this is how you personally should handle living in a pandemic. Who knows the right answers?
Right.
No, not one person alive today can say, well, this is the correct way to handle a pandemic.
Right.
There's not, there are probably people alive from 1918. There are 102, and maybe they might have the key to how to handle a pandemic, but otherwise there's not one person who can sit there in front of you and say, well, this is how you should be feeling, and this is how to handle it. There's nobody who can do that. So you have to navigate it yourself. And it's just, for me, it's just been finding a balance.
And I think, and that's life though in general. I mean, whether it's or not, it's finding that balance. But it's interesting how we had to sort of work under this unknown pressure, the force that had come over us and now is dictating the way we know life or the way we're living our lives, and but I also think that what I've seen from, the people that I know, and my family, my mother who is 78. You met her,
I love your mom.
She goes to the gym 3 days a week. She's
fabulous.
She was ticked off. She didn't want to go to the store in the morning when between 7 and 8, because that's when all the old people go, and she didn't want to go when they were there.
She was like, no, sorry.
No. But like when I look at her and I look at like my friends and I look at what we've been through, we're adaptable. We're very adaptable. And one thing that I've also learned, we're very resilient.
Yes.
So, and I think people need to realize that and take all those other emotions out of it. There's so many emotions going on today in it. Whether it's from like your Twitter feed or it's just, or me getting up at 5 a.m. and wanting to like, go to town on somebody who has a bad attitude on, on the internet, it's got me to that point. But I mean, I don't know. I think in a way we're adaptable. We've seemed to like take it pretty easily, but I'm a little bit afraid of what's going to happen when we reopen.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this whole thing has been a transition, and transition, like you said, life, trying to figure out that balance, and transition phases in life are generally very, very difficult. So, you had the first part of this, which was the hysteria and the fear and the anxiety. And then, you're kind of settling in and you're kind of like, okay, this is what it is right now. This is what I'm going to do. And then we're going to have to transition back to this new, I hate the term because I'm just sick of hearing it, but the new norm. I can't believe I just said it. I
say it all the time.
There's certain words that I'm just like, I never want to hear these words again. They're like triggers for me.
Like 2 years from now, I'm gonna go walk by and be like, hey Nat, what's up? New norm. And you'll be like,
No, I swear, stupid words are just triggers for me right now because I'm like, it's hitting like, but so we're gonna have this new normal, and we're gonna have to transition into it. So I think that's gonna be difficult too because it's a lot, and I've been reading a ton. I read a ton. I'm a big, people who know me know that I'm kind of like a big like science nerd, like sciencey nerd. Like I like to read it because it's like a challenge for me.
You told me on my last show how much of a nerd you were, so I believe it.
Yeah. So if I'm telling you what, if I would have been good at math, I would have been right in outer space. But high school happened, and so
that's why I went to the English route.
Algebra 2 happened, and I was like, yeah, I don't know about this. No, so I've been challenging myself and kind of reading a lot about it, and a lot of the reports now that are coming out of universities are saying the likelihood for a second wave of this is high. So it's kind of just like, okay, we're going to have to transition back to some sense of normalcy, and then perhaps understand that it could get bad again. Like this isn't something that's going to just go away like we want it to. So it's how do you set parameters to manage the next part of this, whatever that is, because like the beaches are opening this weekend, or
that's crazy and scary, especially Wildwood.
Well, so I think it's walking and running.
Well, I read it. Yeah, walking, running.
Okay.
But the mayor of Wildwood said he's very confident that everybody will be practicing social distancing because they have such a large, vast, stretch of beach.
Oh, I know about that beach. I've walked it a million times.
I'm like, listen, anybody from the Philadelphia area grew up in Wildwood, so we know about that beach.
Unless you go to North Wildwood, you're walking a good mile or so to get to the water from the boardwalk.
Exactly.
You hit like 16th or like maybe like 26th in the boardwalk. You've got a mile to get to that ocean. So I mean, I read that too, and I was kind of laughing because I was like, we've complained about that like forever, but yeah. I mean, again, and it's hopefully people are just really like socially responsible, so we can have these little luxuries, for peace of mind. That's really what it is. Like you just can't be. People just need to not be assholes. Sorry if I can't curse, but.
Didn't offend me.
No, that's what I think of when I think of people. I'm like, why do you really like just. Can you calm down for 5 seconds? That's what it's all about.
And they need to. People need to, and I think that's gonna, I don't know. I like to see what happens if a second wave comes around. Are people gonna be ready? Are they gonna be just the same? Will there be toilet paper? Won't there be? It's just,
Well,
these crazy things. So many unanswered questions.
It's my thought was it'll be the winter, so it might be a little bit easier to be inside, because I said sometimes these beautiful sunshiny days make it worse, because you open your door and it's this fresh air and it's the sun and it's the blue sky and the trees, and you're like, oh my god, I just want to be outside somewhere. But so I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully maybe they'll have a vaccine by then. Hopefully they'll have mass testing. I think it's a good sign that now anybody with symptoms, regardless of age, can go get tested. In Philadelphia, I think that's huge.
We needed that. We needed that.
Yeah, it's just, and also it's learning about the disease, like I said, throughout this whole process has been beneficial for me personally too, because you know what you're dealing with. In the beginning, you didn't know what you're dealing with. So we can rely on these really smart people who are actually scientists, not TV and radio personalities reading and talking about it. The actual scientists and doctors and the brilliant people who are in charge of this right now. We just have to rely on them this is what they're here for. And I'm so in awe of, all the doctors, and drinking shouts to Penn Medicine. I spent 4 years at the Abramson Cancer Center working with the brilliant doctors at Penn, and they're on top of this right now and trying to figure out how to cure this and how to fix this so it doesn't disrupt our lives and people stop dying. So I'm relying on them to kind of hopefully get a vaccine, and then maybe by like 2021 we can all just go back to whatever it is. We're never going to go back. No one's ever going to be the same.
It's never going to be what it used to be. And I think that's part of what makes us adaptable, going to learn to have to be that way. I mean, we bounce back as a country for other things. People liken this to like 9/11, how we came together and how we bounced back. And I think it's possible. I think it's really possible, but I think we'll never know life the way we used to know it.
No.
I mean, are we going to carry masks with us at all times? Are people still going to wipe down their groceries? Are people still going to, cross the street? I cross the street anyway when I see people sometimes, because I don't want to be bothered.
Yeah, no,
but nowadays, it's like polite to cross the street. Now it's polite to do that, and there's so many like those unknown factors that are going to happen, and it's going to be interesting to see. I think it's going to be interesting. Very interesting.
I keep laughing because I'm thinking about, I told you my family, I'm so lucky that, my family, I still have 90-year-old relatives who are still with us. And I remember them talking about the war, and living through World War II in Philadelphia and what it was like and some of the habits that they developed. And I'm like, we're all going to come out of this with some like weird habit that our grandchildren are going to be like, why do you do this, mom? And I'll be like, oh, well, back in 2020, during the coronavirus, right? Back in the pandemic, we had to X, Y, and Z. So that's why I don't know, boil my water or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like something just so silly that won't be important to them. We're gonna take those things with us too. So I think it's gonna be.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, and I just think if generations before us, without all this modern science and without all this modern medicine and without all this modern technology, have found a way to kind of power on, we will too. It's going to be hard for a minute. It's going to be hard.
And I love it. I love the positivity you spun there with it. And with anything, life is hard in general. Life is not easy.
No.
It's our battle every damn day. And and I think you're right. I think we need to just buck up. We need to look at it and realize it's not going to be easy, but it will get better. It always does.
Yeah,
it always does.
It does. And that's so funny. One of my like personal mantras is like, there's nowhere to go but up ever. And my other personal mantra is everything's fine. Just so I'm not lying. I don't have any tats, but my friends are like, if you get a tat, You should seriously say everything's fine, because that's what I tell my friends. I'll be like, look, you're still here, you're breathing. There's a lot going on, but everything is fine in this moment because you're still here and you're still like trying, so everything's gonna be fine. You just have to trust. Yeah. And I always say it with a little bit of like, but it makes me feel like everything's gonna be fine. There's nowhere to go but up, ever.
And the way you put it together right
and
there.
I have to tell myself that repeatedly.
That's awesome. Those are great words to live by. Those are good words to take with us today. If you take anything out of this conversation today, there's nowhere to go but up, because everything's going to be fine. Everything is fine.
Yes. Well, and I think we'll see. I mean, it's going to be fine. We'll be all right. Keep kicking. You just have to keep fighting.
And that, and both of us know that more than anybody. We're both pretty much fighters and determined.
For sure.
That's what I love about you. You're one of the most determined people I know. And I know that,
how are you? You were determined.
Get out of here. No, you are. So I know that, you're going to go back so people can tune in to 97.5 to the Mike Mizzanelli show from 2 to 6 Monday through Friday. And they can listen, or they can tune into NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Yes.
See you on TV live Monday through Friday, 2 to 4. Once we get back to this, and once football season rolls around, will we be going back to the Birds or Outsiders?
A lot of that is all up in the air right now. I'm optimistic that it'll be back, but again, sports is, who knows when sports will be back. So that's all. I'm honestly, I'm not even there. If sports
comes back, there's a possibility,
for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Anything else going on other than the fact that you are one of the most amazing persons that there is? You have been a great support to me. You are. It's an honor to have you as one of the Philly Unknown board members.
I know, and I'm so upset. We had like one meeting before this all happened.
That's okay though.
We got to have that meeting in person.
Well, that's all right. We've actually had like maybe one Zoom call after that, and we're gonna have another one, and we're gonna do some really great things together. I mean, and hey, listen, there's nowhere to go but up.
No, I know. I'm excited for the next chapter of the Philly Unknown, and just to be a part of it and lend my voice to it and do whatever I can. It's such a special cause to me personally. And I hope to, really, really share that part of my life one day with people. And maybe I will. Maybe this will inspire me to kind of do that, and we can talk about it somewhere else.
Good. Well, hey, the first show we did last year, you mentioned a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is a good stepping stone, and that's why the show is called Be a Voice, so you can be a voice about things that you believe in, and and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. And I think that we've talked for about a freaking hour.
I don't
have my producer in my ear telling me, I don't have.
That's so funny because time flies when I'm hanging out with you.
I know, and I love it, but I hate it because then that means we have to go eventually.
That's
Dylan,
okay.
Are you still there, or did you tune us out, Dylan?
Oh, poor Dylan.
I know.
Hanging out there.
Dylan, you're a trooper. Is it time for us to go, Dylan? Are you on mute? One more.
Oh, okay. 1 minute.
No pressure there, right, Natalie? 1 more minute.
No. Fit in whatever you have to say. Oh yeah.
How about you? Anything you want to tell the listeners? Anything you want to say?
Just hang in there. That's about it. Hang in there. I don't want to say. I want to say we're
personally.
Yes. Yeah. Don't take the internet personally.
Gosh.
Don't. As I tell myself that every day, I'm like, don't take it personally.
Yeah.
Like these people are. People are bored. They're online. They're kind of suffering. So it's hard. It's fine. It's fine. See, there it is. Did you hear that?
On my phone. What's that? Everything's fine.
And it's fine slipped out.
I heard you at the very end.
It slips. That's when it comes out. It's fine.
We're gonna have to get you that tattoo. Maybe the little above the butt there. What do they call that?
Oh my God, a tramp stamp? Stop. My mother would have a heart attack. I wanted one when I was 16 so bad. And she was like, if you come home with that, I will. She's like, you will not live here anymore. I know. I want a tat. I don't know if I'll ever get one.
Well,
I'm so indecisive.
We'll let them chime in if Natalie should get a tattoo or not. For next time.
Great. Oh yes. Let me just let the internet decide. No, it's not that I'm against. I'm not against tattoos. I'm somebody that I might get tired of it in like a week, and I'll want to like wash it off of my body. And if I put it somewhere that I won't see it, then I'll know that it's there, and I'll be like, ugh.
All right,
that's my problem.
Oh, Natalie, I love you. You're just amazing. This actually made my morning. Thank you so much.
This was worth getting up. This was worth getting up at 8 a.m. for. 8:30, 8:45. This was worth getting up at 8:45 for.
Well, I appreciate it. And to everybody out there listening, I think Natalie's last words there were pretty much, sums it all up, that everything's fine. There's nowhere to go but up from here. And, if you're having a bad day, reach out to somebody. If you're feeling like you're alone in all this, reach out, because you are not alone. We're all going through it in our own way, but yet we are together. So
yes,
Natalie, keep staying amazing. And the rest of you out there, whatever it is you stand for, be a voice. This is Britt Carpenter on USLA Radio. We'll talk real soon. Be well.